Hey everyone. Hey, I just wanted to hop in here. This is a new thing that I'm starting here on my website, and I'm probably going to put it up on my social medias. But basically, I wanted to hop in here and talk about a website that I've been wanting to redesign. Give myself 2 hours and redesign that website, and then talk about the changes and why I made those changes. Um, there's a lot of websites out there that need some help, and I think if I can hop in here and kind of talk about some of the reasons and some of the things that could be improved, it could help some people. So the first website that I'm going to be doing is actually my brother's-in-law's. He owns a carpet and tile cleaning business in Alabama. And I've been wanting to redesign his website now for a while. I just never got around to it, so I'm making the initiative now to kind of do that. So I'm going to bring up his site here, and we're going to kind of talk over, what this current website does, and then we're going to look at the redesign and how I think it's, better, and some of the changes that I made with it. So right off the bat, I'll say his website, is functional. It does what he needs it to do, and honestly, it works for him, and that's completely fine. I just wanted to kind of take my spin on it, refresh it, bring it into 2020, and kind of see if we could help him, bring some more business in. So the first thing that I noticed when I landed on this website is this whole navigation section up here is one image. So obviously that's not good for SEO compliance, but also usability. I'm sure a lot of people try to copy this phone number so that they can text it to their friend or their family member, and they're not able to do that. And I also think that putting, what cards they take, and they take cash and checks, I think it works, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it makes them probably look smaller than they may want to appear, because if they're a business, they're going to accept all of these, and they'll find a workaround if they run into an issue. So I don't think that necessarily is important to have, and it's kind of jamming up the rest of the site. The next thing was the hero images and the headlines here. So obviously these headlines are in the images themselves. You can't do anything. So again, for SEO purposes, this is not the best practice, and they're probably getting some hits from Google on this, because there's no H1 tags anywhere. And also the actual wording here isn't really enticing. There's no value proposition here. There's no reason a customer should call them over their competitor. So that was one of my main focuses, was freshening up this hero section and separating them from the competition. As we scroll down the page, you can see that we run into another menu bar, or navigation rather. And it kind of gets a little confusing, because you can see that there's carpet cleaning here, carpet cleaning here, carpet cleaning here. They all go to the same spot, so it's functional in that sense, but it's kind of confusing from a user. Which one should I go to? Are there differences? I don't know. It's just a little messy, and it's honestly just takes up room that, valuable space that we could be using for something else. Then we dive into the reviews. I think the review section works. I'm not a fan of this image. It's a little stale, but it works for what it is. And then we come down to the final section here, and it's basically talking about the certification that his business has, which is great and valuable, but I don't think a normal consumer would care about something like this. Especially in this context, they talk a lot about what this actual certification is and who the company behind it is. And ultimately, that's not what we want to do here. We want to, talk about the actual company themselves, the Island Carpet and Tile Cleaning. So I just feel like that this section here is kind of a miss, and we could talk about what makes them different and why you should book with them, rather than talk about the certifications. So I'm going to bring up the site that I designed here, and we'll kind of go through it in comparison to his old site. So right off the bat, you can see that there's a lot more room and padding for things to breathe, and I think it kind of makes things easier to understand and to kind of understand what the user is here for. So first things first, I cleaned up the navigation, made it a little bit more simple. This get started could be replaced with our actual phone number if we wanted to go that route. And you could also change it depending on what device they are. Maybe on mobile we have a click to call button here. And then on desktop we display the phone number. And then jumping down into the hero section, basically what I wanted to do here was kind of think about his branding and what separates him from competitors. And I think the biggest thing would be the fact that he brings this family care to a professional business. And in Alabama, in his market, family's really large down there. And I think that if he kind of leans on that, he could brand himself as a family-oriented business with family care. And I think that would resonate a lot with the people down there. So that's kind of the direction I went with the headline. I don't think it's the best headline ever. I think we could probably rewrite it a few different ways and get a better result. But it's what I could think of with that time frame. And then the next thing you'll notice is I put a little form submit here for someone to type in their phone number. And I did this because on his current website, everything's asking for them to call you. And ultimately, I don't think that, every person that lands on your website is going to want to call. People are lazy. If they can have someone reach out to them, they would probably rather that happen. So what I did was, put a spot where they could just have text messages come through. And this is something that we could automate for them. So we could kind of gather lead information before he even has to reach out and make that contact. And the other idea that I had here, which if he would be open to that we could do, is we could tie this into Calendly and they could book like a cleaning. Obviously this would depend per project if this would work. But I think there's a couple workarounds here where we don't have to rely on them calling us. And then I put some badges here. If he wants to talk about certifications and if they're important to him and his business, I want to bring that up towards the top. We don't have to really talk about it, but we can just put the badges here or maybe some big clients that he works with or supported by. And then in the next section, I decided to move the testimonial section up a little bit higher. And the reason I did this, again, is because we're talking about the family care and, the quality of work that he does. Ultimately, when it comes to carpet cleaning, I think word of mouth and testimonials is probably the biggest marketing tool that you could use. So I just wanted to kind of bring that and highlight that a little higher up on the page. And then finally, we're going to dive down in here into the content. So when I was reading through his content, there wasn't much to put there. Ultimately, I would rewrite some of this content for him. So right now, there's just some placeholder text. But I just think that we could kind of break this into a few sections here, making it a little bit more easily legible. And then ultimately bringing in a quote from him and why he started this company. Again, harping on the fact that he is a family person and he's here to service his community. And then down here in the feature section, I'm just planning on talking about what separates him from his competitors, talking about the reviews he got. And then at the very end, it's just a simple form submission. Again, just having a way for clients to submit their information without having to call. I think that would ultimately increase lead generation for the company. But yeah, guys, that's about it. So let me know what you think about, the two designs. I think that ultimately the redesign came out really well. I'm really happy with the results. I don't think it's perfect, but I do think that it's better than where we were. And I think ultimately, we could spend a couple more hours tweaking some things here and there and kind of strategizing the funnel aspect of it. But other than that, I'm really happy with how it came out.